This video is brought to you by Andy Gone Nuts. 100% guaranteed fresh coconut water delivered straight to your door. Call 876 309 6128. That's 876 309 6128. Refreshing and affordable. For more information, follow them on Instagram at Andy Gone Nuts. Truly refreshing. And Crumble by Mrs. C. Old English fudge and other delectable sweet treats. Call or WhatsApp 876 586 0471. That's 876 586 0471. Welcome to Sports City. I'm Simon Preston. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video on this channel as the Jamaica Tallawahs have advanced to the CPL playoffs for the first time since 2020. And you know, it's quite interesting. That season, they only won 3 games and they made it to the playoffs of the CPL. This time around, 4 wins, 5 losses, and 1 defeat. And they are through to the playoffs of the CPL. Well, basically, a rain-out game against the St. Lucia Kings, and they are through to the next stage of the competition. Let me show you what the table looks like so they don't have to worry about anything. There could be some adjustments later on today, so it's possible that the Tallawahs may not end up third. They might end up 4th in the table, but we'll get to that quite shortly. Barton says, hoping they win today's game and make the two. Sorry about that, Brian, but here's the thing. The Jamaica Tallawahs and the St. Lucia Kings, that game has ended in a no result. And you know what that means? Well, quite simply, it's very unfortunate, but it means that they won't be participating in trying to get to 11 points in the table, or 10 points in the table, I should say. So yeah, that's the reality of the situation here, you know? So that's where things are at the moment. Once the Tallawahs win and Royals win, the Tallawahs should good for second. But yeah, game called off. But yeah, I understand what you mean though. So look here now. If the Barbados Royals defeats the Amazon Warriors, the Tallawahs are still third. If the Guyana Amazon Warriors defeat the Barbados Royals, the Tallawahs will go to 4th. So you know what that means, Brian? And to everyone tuning in, it's quite simple. Whatever happens, the Tallawahs will end 3rd or 4th, which means that they won't be playing in the qualifier 1. That's basically what we know as it relates to this itself. We know for sure that they won't be in qualifier 1. There's no way they can finish 2nd in the table. It's possible that the Kings could finish 2nd depending on this evening's result, but it just goes to show, if you look at the 5 games that the Tallawahs lost, which one of those 5 do you think they could have won? I think they could have defeated the Kings, and that would have moved the team up to 11 points, right? Had they bowled better against the Amazon Warriors, that could have been 13 points right there. And just like that, the Tallawahs move up to 13 and 2nd place is secured. But indecision, you know, the captain's decisions, it didn't work out there. So I think Guyana might beat Royals, as Royals may give a few players some rest. That's what I think as well. And Guyana, as you know, are already on this little mini momentum after winning a couple of games on the road at home, and they look poised. And it might be, but you might think as well about this as well, Brian. If the Guyana Amazon Warriors defeats Barbados, then that means that Guyana is going to play Barbados again. And that game will take place. That means they'll play each other twice. I guess it doesn't matter that much, but we just have to bear in mind that it means that they're going to have to play each other again. How the game turned out? Well, basically, it was rained out, so it was called off due to a wet outfield. So 1 point for both teams. So this evening, the last game of the group stages will see the Royals taking on the Guyana Amazon Warriors, and basically, this is what will happen. The Barbados Royals will face the Guyana Amazon Warriors. If the Amazon Warriors win, they move to second, and the Tallawahs go to fourth. If the Royals win, the Tallawahs will stay in third. So that is the situation for this game in particular. And as you can see now, as it relates to the playoffs of the competition, qualifier 1 will see the Royals taking on the second place team. So the second place team could be any team, really. We'll just have to wait and see which team that is. So we'll keep track on that and see how that maps out for this encounter in particular. So we'll see how things match up there. Interesting. Okay, so you think the Tallawahs has a better chance of beating the Kings than Guyana again? Okay. So beat the Kings, get to qualifier 2, take on perhaps Barbados, and then Guyana in the final. I think that's something that could work. Yeah, because I feel that's realistic. TKR missed the playoffs for the first time in CPL history, and guess what? That means that the Guyana Amazon Warriors are the only team left in CPL history that have always been to the playoffs / semifinals of the competition itself. So that's something that we can bear in mind where they are concerned, you know? So that's something for us to process there, you know? Yeah. I think it's also the first time Pollard was Bravo at St. Kitts last year. But yeah, I think you're right, you know. No, Pollard was at Barbados in 2016, no? Because in 2016, remember the Tridents didn't get to the playoffs. St. Lucia Zooks, as they were called back then, got that particular spot. Remember that? I'm sure you remember that game in particular. Yeah. I'm sure you remember that game and how that sort of went. There we go. For some reason, I think Guyana has a really good chance of winning this year. I hope they might win, especially. Yeah, and you know, to see them lose so much different finals, I don't want Barbados to go and win because Barbados would have 3 titles. The Tallawahs have 2. I don't want another team to go far ahead. So if it's not Jamaica, St. Lucia and Guyana are the only teams without a title. So, and of course the dissolved Antigua Hawks Bills. So yeah, I say why not? If it's not going to be the Tallawahs that goes on and wins the competition, then Guyana, they have that home support, they have that momentum behind them as well. I remember, but usually one of them are in the playoffs. So yeah. But yeah. So Guyana are now the only team in CPL history that have never failed to make it to the playoffs. It's just amazing when you analyze Guyana's incredible run within the competition itself. It's just absolutely wonderful because second in 2013, runners up 2014, third in 2015, runners-up 2016, 4th in 2017. Yeah. Runners-up 2018, runners-up 2019. In that season where, I think it was the 2018 season where they won, no, rather the 2019 season where they won every single group stage game and all the way up to the final. Boy, and Brandon King did such a good job, but in the final itself, Trident claimed their second title. So yeah, really, really unfortunate, honestly, because I felt that was their year. And it's quite interesting that when you look at Guyana, it's the Imran Tahir is one of their highest wicket takers. Santoki took 33 wickets for them across 2 seasons, where Sami Permal took 37 wickets for them across 4 or 5 seasons, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 6 seasons. Simon Cheadle made a huge mistake in not investing in Hetty as a captain, given he won our only Youth World Cup. I honestly believe that is something that should have been done. Personally, I feel like with his ability, especially that team as a whole, I don't think there was enough investment. Where's Tevin Imlak? A few 4-day games and we haven't seen him other than that. Shamar Springer, has he progressed really from Bangladesh in 2016? Kemo Paul, yes, he's played for the West Indies, but outside of going to the World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe in 2018, has he progressed? Azar Joseph, I can say, yes, absolutely. Absolutely fantastic athlete. Done well. Gidron Pope. My word. Jid Gooley. Where are these guys? You know what I'm saying? Puran has no experience as captain outside of the West Indies. In fact, Puran was vice captain of the West Indies under-19 team that went to the United Arab Emirates in 2014. Remember, that's the same team that Ramal Lewis led, and Nicholas Puran was the vice captain of that team. And I've always felt that with Puran and seen him, his leadership has always been by example. In terms of off the pitch, I wouldn't say he's that person that chats nonstop. He would give a few words of encouragement and then he goes full throttle, if you understand what I mean. Like, look at that game against Australia in the quarterfinals. We're 80 for 8, and the man pulled us to 208 for 8, and of course we got bowled out. 143 runs in that game at the Dubai National Stadium. Tevin is playing for the A team and has been doing okay for Guyana. Great, but what I'm saying is that this was 6 years ago, and the progression to the senior team, I know we lost Pope, but I'm just saying that in terms of a player of his caliber that we saw hasn't made a progression. One year CPL, two seasons of CPL, and honestly, just unfortunate. Yeah, the Tallawahs have qualified for the playoffs. After tonight's game against Guyana, we'll know exactly who they'll play. If Barbados beats Guyana, then the Tallawahs will play off against the Amazon Warriors. But I rather play against the Kings. So my personal preference is that Guyana wins, which means that the Kings will play against the Tallawahs. That's my preference. That's how I feel about the matter. And of course, the Guyana Amazon Warriors wouldn't want to lose and end up 4th, because they know that's an additional more games that they have to play. They know that if they come second, they have a clear shot of beating Barbados again and getting to the final. So in a sense, it's still 1 game less if they can win that qualifier. So, yeah. But they could have invested in Hitty they did for Shamar Brooks too. They could have. Melius, oh boy, man, from St. Lucia, Kimani Melius. Jaden Seals. I'm happy that he's making some progression. Jaden Seals. Oh boy, I tell you. Absolute gems from those teams. Ray Stewart says, Preston, explain the playoff to me again, because I was thinking it was 1 play 2. We know that game goes straight to the finals, All right. So basically, this is what happened. So Guyana plays Barbados this evening in the last game of the group stage. If Guyana wins, Guyana goes to second, which means the Tallawahs drop to fourth. And that means that the St. Lucia and Jamaica will play in the eliminator. The winner of the St. Lucia Jamaica game plays off against the loser of the Barbados Guyana game. Of course, loser of the Jamaica St. Lucia game got them yard. Simple as that. So basically this. There's no way that the Tallawahs will be finishing in the top two. There's no way. So the Tallawahs are going to have to play the eliminator. They're going to have to play qualifier 2 and potentially a final. That's the reality of the situation as it stands. So yes, you're right. 1 plays 2, winner of that game goes straight to the final. That is true. And the winner of 3 versus 2 plays the lose. You're right. You're spot on, Ray. 100%. It is quite a list, you know. I agree with you. It is quite a list, and it is disappointing that there hasn't been that progression. Like I said, for me, I'm disappointed that Gideon Pope hasn't made the progression as he should. Gideon Pope, Tevin Imlach, 2 of them in particular, I had higher expectations for. Great to see that Odin Smith was part of that team, that winning team. Although I wouldn't say he was a standout in that tournament, but he played an important role with the bat, especially in that game against Zimbabwe in the group stages of the tournament itself. But if you look at your screen right now, you see the standings, and this is how it looks. If Barbados wins this evening, Jamaica will play Guyana in the eliminator. If Guyana wins this evening, Jamaica plays St. Lucia. If the match rain out this evening, Jamaica versus Guyana. So simple as that. So still, I don't want to say it's another wait and see, but it's still another scenario where this evening we'll know exactly who the Tallawahs will play. So that's the situation. And in terms of when this playoff game would be, when the playoffs will be in particular, well, Tuesday in particular is when we can look forward to. It's going to be quite an interesting day because you have two games on the same day. So first you'll have qualifier 1 with Barbados taking on the second place team. This is going to be Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday evening is the eliminator. Yeah. So basically, in the evening, third place is fourth. Third plays against fourth in that game. The next day will be qualifier 2. So Wednesday at 6 o'clock Jamaica time will be loser of qualifier 1 versus winner, the eliminator. And of course, the final itself is slated for Friday. Friday is the final. And all of these games will take place at Providence. So, yeah. What did Cricket West Indies do for the development of all those players who won the Under-19 World Cup? Good question, Ray. All right. So if you look back at the players that went to that tournament, right, in 2016, let's specifically look at the faces of that team. And I'll show you as well the team in particular as well, so you guys can have a grand look at it as well. That's a squad that went to the World Cup. Shimron Maya, Casey Carty, Shai Crooks, Michael Frew, Jid Gooley, Tevin Imlach, Ryan John, Azari Joseph, Kirsten Kalicharan, Obed McCoy, Kima Paul, Gideon Pope, Odin Smith, Shamar Springer, Emmanuel Stewart, Shamar Holder. How much of those players would you say have made progress? And if you're going to be absolutely straightforward towards Ray's question, what did they do? You can be blunt and say nothing. Outside of giving opportunities to players like Shimron Hetmyer, Azari Joseph, Obed McCoy, Keema Paul, Odin Smith. So 5 members of that team. Shamar Holder has played a test match, but this was almost 2 years ago. Other players that went on to another, you could say, T20 Under-19 World Cup, like Kirsten Kalicharan, like he did in 2018. But outside of playing a couple of first-class games for Trinidad, he hasn't played a lot. Well, played for Trinidad Under-19s, West Indies Under-19s, and he was a member of the Jamaica Tallawahs squad. Kalicharan, that is. Shamar Holder for me is a big disappointment. Gideon Pope, another big disappointment. Odin Smith has progressed, I would say. But if we're being completely frank, not a lot. Not a lot. If you look at those names in front of you, not a lot. So that is what we can look at right there. So yeah, that is the situation. So 6 o'clock this evening, we'll wait and see. We'll watch the Guyana versus Barbados game, and from there we take it from there in terms of we'll be able to find out at the end of that game who will play who in that game. So that's the latest, guys. The Tallawahs are through to the next round, the playoffs, for the first time since 2020. As we know, they missed out on the CPL playoffs in 2019 and 2021. So they've ensured that they have not repeated back-to-back years of missing out on the playoffs of the competition. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports City for more content.
This video is brought to you by Andy Gone Nuts. 100% guaranteed fresh coconut water delivered straight to your door. Call 876-309-6128. That's 876-309-6128. Refreshing and affordable. For more information, follow them on Instagram at Andy Gone Nuts. Truly refreshing. And Crumble by Mrs. C. Old English fudge and other delectable sweet treats. Call or WhatsApp 876-586-0471. That's 876-586-0471.